If you thought Ghost simply reached the end of his story, 50 Cent has given us a very different explanation. According to 50, Ghost was actually supposed to be written out of the show way earlier. And he believes that the decision that changed Power came down to a much bigger issue behind the scenes.
To do it. I didn't mind killing Kanan when it came time, but it was one of those things where, look, at some points, when people have success for the first time in their career, sometimes they need it to be all as, right? So the difficult thing is if they have their success for the first time and it's a 50 Cent show, it is a 50 Cent show. Like publicly people look at it like it's presented by 50 Cent. It's 50 Cent. The story is from Southside Jamaica, Queens. Everything is 50 Cent tied to the show. The music that's playing is 50 Cent. It got awkward for the writer, for the showrunner, because she felt like it was registering as a 50 Cent show instead of her show.
Now this right here is where the whole situation starts to stand out. Because there's a difference between creating a show and becoming the person the audience associates with the entire brand. And 50 Cent is basically saying that happened with Power. Think about it. You've got 50 Cent attached to the music, the marketing, the promotion, the story's identity, and even the image of the show. So from a business standpoint, I can understand why that could create some tension. But creatively, that also raises a bigger question. Who actually owns the identity of a hit show?
And that turned into, it got weird with her behaviors and the things that was going on behind the scenes with her. And then it also was friction between her and Omari, because he was feeling like he was the lead and the star of the show. So she was having a problem with anybody who was leading the show because she felt like it was her show, like it was hers. And
this is where it goes from a branding issue to a power struggle. You've got a showrunner who feels like this is her creation. And you've got an actor who becomes the face of the show. And then you've got 50 Cent, who says that he was technically the star before Omari became the guy everybody associated with Power. That's a dangerous combination in any successful business. Because once a project becomes bigger than the people who started it, everybody has to figure out who has the final say.
it was a show rightfully as a writer, but he is the star of the show. Omari would have died. Ghost Must Die, he would have died where Kanan died, that much earlier. She planned to kill Omari's character off right there. And I'm like, nah. I could feel how the general public was feeling about it, and I knew that was not the right decision. And I was saying, well, she said, well, then if he doesn't die, something has to happen, something big has to happen.
And I think this part tells you a lot about 50 Cent's mindset. He's basically saying, hey, if you need somebody to kill off the character Kanan, I can just go back to being 50 Cent. That sounds funny, but there's a business strategy underneath that. 50 wasn't dependent on Power to maintain his career at all. He already had a name, music, businesses, and other opportunities outside the show. But then there's another interesting point. He admits that Omari Hardwick became the star.
And I'm like, me, like, kill my character. Like, I got other shit to do. I could go be 50 Cent and then I don't have to be here anymore. Like, look, I took a pay cut to be there the entire time that I was on that show. Like, that I was being paid in the very beginning $17,000 per episode, while executive producing the show, being the music supervisor pretty much for then doing the theme song and all the promotion and publicity. It wasn't until the third season that they would accept the show on Good Morning America without me being there. I'm technically the star of Power until I introduced everybody to it, and then Omari Hardwick turned into the star of Power.
Do you agree with them killing Ghost?
I wouldn't have killed him. The shit could still been running if it was right now. It just was creatively a decision that she made because she was not feeling him no more.
Now, whether you agree or disagree with the decision, what matters is that one of the people who helped build Power believes that the ending was a creative choice that ultimately hurt the longevity of the original series. And that's why this conversation is bigger than just Ghost. It's really about what happens when a hit show reaches the point where creative decisions become business decisions.
It turned into almost hatred to him feeling like that.
From the music perspective of Power. You tried to do the remix. You feel me with Trey?
Tried to do the
But
remix.
you know who
See how he
got
talked about me?
That's crazy.
And on the fucking camera, he says this to me. You tried to do the remix.
That was crazy.
I sold over 40 million records. You want to tell me I tried to do the remix? Look. I did the theme song for Power, and then I did a remix to it. And the remix was doing extremely well, like at radio with me and Trey, but they just had a funk around Trey. Like they just was not publicly. They was like, like that. I did that, and it didn't make sense to go against anything that the audience didn't want. So I just go, put it back. See, this is after the theme song's been playing for 6 years. I'm just offering you a new, cool version of a theme song for, and it wasn't ready. They rather just hear, like, you know, I should have thought about it. Nobody asked to change the theme song to Good Times. You know, it's fine when you do it right the first time. You can just let it play. But this record played for 6 years, 6.5 years. My passion for film and television was what was driving me in that direction, because financially it was you would look at it and say, what the fuck are you doing? I remember I went to do Jimmy Kimmel specifically, right? I did Jimmy Kimmel's first season, opening show type thing like that, and then I really blew him up, bro. I was high at that time. I blew him up. He don't never give me no credit, but I blew up Jimmy Kimmel, right? But I would go back to see him, and while I'm there, I'm like talking about the television show, and he goes, "Yeah," and he says, "What network is this on?" I said, "Stars," and he looked and he goes, "Stars? That isn't a network."
This part is easy to overlook because we're talking about Ghost. But this is actually one of the most important business lessons in the whole interview. 50 Cent is basically saying that he saw an opportunity before the market fully recognized it. At the time, Stars wasn't viewed as this massive destination for television, but 50 Cent believed in the project anyway. And that's what separates somebody who's just participating in a business from somebody who's thinking like an entrepreneur.
That isn't a network. Because it wasn't recognizable or a big network at that point, but I was confident. Chris Albert, he had developed HBO, you know what I mean? So he had done a lot of things over there, and I was excited about working with him, and we got into it, and we got it going. I didn't see Power becoming the universe right away. I looked at it, doing the spinoff, once we got into the spinoff concepts, I understood the universe play, and then even like Raising Kanan, I knew that would be one of the better spinoffs.
And this is where 50 Cent starts talking like a franchise builder instead of just a television producer. At first, Power was a single show. But once they started seeing the potential for spinoffs, the strategy changed. And that's a huge difference between having a hit show and having a franchise. Now, a hit show makes money while it's still on, but a franchise can keep generating value through different characters, different timelines, different stories, and different entry points for the audience.
Because it's in the golden era, like you're going right back into a time period. It's like the heyday of these behaviors in the cities and communities that people definitely relate to it and understand that time period. So I took that one. Like Courtney had no interest in working on that because she felt like it's like telling a story that people already know the outcome to, because they know that Kanan makes it through, but they don't know the trauma and the experience he went through to get there. So, and she was wrong about that, because that show, it just snapped.
And that's probably the biggest takeaway from everything 50 Cent just said. You can look at Power as a television show, but the bigger story is really about creative control, ownership, audience expectations, and knowing when you have something bigger than the original concept. 50 Cent clearly believes that Ghost had more life in him, and he believes that the original Power could have continued. Now, whether you agree with that or not, the fact that we're still debating Ghost being written out of the show years later tells you just how valuable that character was. And honestly, that's the crazy part. They killed off the main character, ended the original show, and somehow still turned the whole thing into a universe. But I want to know from y'all now, was killing off Ghost's character actually the right move for Power? Or did Courtney Kip kill off that character too soon? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. And make sure you like and subscribe. Peace.